The following program is a West Tennessee PBS special presentation made possible through the generous financial support of viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.
I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since I spoke. I was at a different station before, so I've switched stations, same area, still live in Jackson, but switched stations, and sort of the reason it came about is you always have to keep your ears open, and I call those little God winks. You got to be quiet, you listen, you pray, and somebody had reached out to me from West Tennessee PBS, the board of directors, said, hey, our general manager just left and wondering if you would be interested. We love what you've been doing in the community. And I said, well, that's interesting. I never thought about working for PBS. A long-time viewer my whole life, but I never thought about working for them. And the more I explored that, thought about it, prayed about it, the more it made sense. And so I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary with WLJT. And so we're very exciting here. I need to get the little keyboard, if you could unplug that. I wanted to talk about the future of television. One question I get a whole bunch about, a lot of questions about, is what's the future of television? What's going to happen? What is, it's changing so fast. What we know to be true today is going to be totally different next week, next month. Thank you, sir. And so I thought, let's talk about the future of television, but as any good futurist knows, you got to understand your history and where you came from. And one thing we feel really special, speaking in Lexington, this is like our hometown. The station was born here. The transmitter's right out here off Gurley Road. And we just were celebrating our 55th year of broadcasting. So really, we don't give the beanies to just everyone. We only give those to hometown folks. So that's why you got those, and because it's really, really cold out. But, and I was just talking to Crystal, if any one of you ever want to come out and tour the transmitter, just let us know. We'll meet you out there. It's sort of like walking back in time. I mean, it's got a little kitchen, it's got a bathroom, it's multiple rooms. So, people worked there when we first started round the clock. So, but TV started with what? Game shows. So I thought, let's do some game shows. And I've got prizes, like all good game shows. Does anyone remember that? Sponsored by Geritol. So the first question, and if you know the answer, just shout it out. What does the LJT stand for in WLJT? Pardon me?
Lexington, Jackson, Tennessee.
That's right, you win. Yep, that's what WLJT stands for. Because the transmitters in Lexington, the biggest town in the market is Jackson, and it's Tennessee. What year did PBS begin? Not what year Channel 11 started, but what year did PBS begin?
69.
Close, but no cigar. Pardon me?
7.
That's right. PBS started in 1970. But because we like to give runners-up gifts, it's a consolation prize. But PBS, so our station, Channel 11, WLJT, is older than PBS. We were on the air in 1968, 2 years before PBS started. What was the very first show on PBS? Very first show. You can either name the title of the show or the host. Close? Pardon me? No. I'm going to give you a clue. Cooking. That's right. The French Chef was the very first show on PBS.
I'm aware of all kinds of people.
You can,
Yeah, my dad would be.
and if you think of all the cooking shows now, there's entire channels devoted to it, magazines. It all started with PBS and Julia Child. Does anyone remember Miss Cleo? Call me now, back in the 90s. I don't know, but so as we look, I'm no Miss Cleo. I'm not a psychic. Don't believe in any of that. But I just, I don't have a crystal ball to look. So this is just my 30 years experience in television. But when you look at the history of PBS and TV, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, that's the act of the government. Congress passed a law, Lyndon Baines Johnson was president, to fund public broadcasting. And that's what the Corporation for Public Broadcasting does. They get an appropriation from the Congress, and then they divvy that out to the various television stations. So that's where we come in. PBS started then in 1970, and the station started in 1968. Our funding, PBS station fundings, come from grants, like from Congress. The state of Tennessee gives us a little bit of money, and then from viewers, donors like you, underwriters from businesses. Commercial television stations, they make their money by selling ads, which we don't have, and also more recently, probably the last couple of decades, they make their money on retrans fees. So does anyone have cable in here? Satellite dish? So a part of your monthly bill goes to the local television stations every month. Could be $5, could be $8, $9, goes to, channel 7 or 30, whatever the stations are. Because we are commercial-free public television, we don't get any of that money. We give our signal to anyone who will take it. So that's sort of the difference in our funding. And that's a little bit of our timeline, starting in '68. In '81, we moved, the state the state used to own us with several of the other PBS stations. And then in the early '80s, when Ned McWhorter was Speaker of the House before he was governor, they decided to divest themselves of the PBS stations. And since he's from where? Dresden, right next to Martin, and he knew Chancellor Smith, they decided to put our offices there. So our business offices were there. And then we sort of started to do our local programming, and then we moved our master control from Lexington and do that at our business offices out of Martin. But I found some old newspaper articles to show you how connected we are to Lexington. And I think the earliest one is from, 53, when they were exploring having more educational stations. And I think that one's from the New York Times, actually, in '53. But as you can tell, it got closer and closer to us having a television station here in Lexington. But that brings us to the here and now. All television stations, radio stations, in exchange for their license to use the public airwaves, which you own, I own, we're required by law to operate in the public interest. Think about that, public interest. Now take a look at these shows. I'm not passing judgment, I'm not giving a comment, I'm just saying, are these shows serving the public interest? I've watched some of them, all of them. I've helped promote some of them even. But are these serving the public interest? That's just are they serving the public interest? There's been a lot of changes in the broadcast rules in the last 10, 20 years. The number of stations a company or a person can own, that has changed. You used to be able to have a studio in your city of license. So if your license, our city of license is Lexington. Every hour we have to have something that says Lexington, on our with WLJT. That they did away with that. Airing public service announcements, you used to have to air so many of those. Now you don't. That is not a requirement anymore. For example, the change in ownership. So when I started college in the early 90s, you could only own 7 television stations. They got rid of that. Now there is no limit. You can only own so much, 39% of households across the country. These are 2 big companies, Sinclair and Gray. They own hundreds of television stations. And what does that mean? So a station in city A may be run by a city 5,000 miles away. Is that really serving the community? So it comes back to, what does the future of TV hold? Well, these are the 3 things that are really driving the future of television. It's technology, how we consume media, business, the right to make a profit, and TV's purpose. Is it to educate, entertain, make money? Those are the 3 things that are dictating the future of television. And so I sort of call these things Pete's predictions. And my first one is commercial television will continue to consolidate until there's a reckoning. Meaning they'll be continue to consolidate stations and consolidate companies. You always hear about different companies buying other companies and TV stations buying other TV stations. They're going to continue to do that until there's some sort of a reckoning. I don't know what that is. It could be a bankruptcy. It could be a horrific event. I don't know, like where a station being run by people 5,000 miles away missed a weather warning, and a horrific tornado, takes out an elementary school, God forbid. But there may be a reckoning and there'll be some changes. But I believe they're going to continue to consolidate.
And if they consolidate, they control what we see.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Public television stations may be the last one standing. In a lot of markets, the only locally owned station is your public television station. Like here in West Tennessee, we're the only locally owned station. We're owned by the West Tennessee Public Television Council. Crystal is a board member, so she's my boss. That's who owns it. It's locally owned. There's some groups that I just showed you, like Sinclair, where they have stories that are must run, that all has to run on all their stations. So they're controlling what stories are run on their news. But I believe that we have a different mission. Public television's mission is to serve the community. So that's part of the fun that I took this job. They said, we can't pay you what you're making at Channel 3. And I said, it's not about pay. It's about liking what you do. I love West Tennessee, and I love what television can do for the community. And so I wake up every day and go, what good can we do for West Tennessee? Now, commercial television stations, they have to wake up every day going, we got a number to hit, because they have to turn a profit for their owner or shareholders. And that's good, but that's a different priority. And so we do good stuff and figure out how we're going to get the funding to pay for it. So we have a different philosophy and a different mission than commercial television stations. So I think we may be the last one standing in a lot of markets. Prediction number 3, using the public airways to communicate will continue for the future. I don't know how all it will take place. They're talking about different technologies, ACTCS, 3.0. It's always something new, something different. This snazzy new little thing, new app, new way to watch television. It will continue for the future. Does anyone here ever watch The Walking Dead? I know you do. Okay. So if you watch any Walking Dead or Apocalypse movies, the last form of public media is always radio. No matter what has been blown up or how many zombies take over the world, there's always radio. So I hope there are radio engineers still alive in the future, because that's the only way people communicate when the zombie apocalypse happens. Take a look at this quote, and it's from 1958. It's from Edward R. Murrow, who worked at CBS News. It says, "This instrument can teach, it can illuminate, yes, and it can even inspire, but it can do so only to the extent that humans are determined to use it to those ends. Otherwise, it is merely wires and lights in a box." And that was 1958. I think that's just as relevant today in 2024 as it was back then. So that brings us to what we're doing at WLJT. I just mentioned I've been here 1 year. When you look at what we do and what we're about being home. It's all about home. So this is sort of our new marketing plan called All About Home. We've got a song that matches it, that's our logo, but we really, everything that we do is driving all about home. This is a great example. We decided that we were going to try and do as many Christmas parades as possible. It's very unique to West Tennessee. I mean, every little town has a Christmas parade. And so we streamed, I don't know how many of them, 7, 8, and we were in many of them. This is what happened when we streamed the Lexington one. Over 10,000 people watched it from all over the world, somebody from Australia. So Lexington, you got a big following out there around the world. That's the power of, all about home. Was anyone in the parade here? So we're trying to be more local. We're going to do more local programs, more local projects, and be more local involvement in things. And that's what we're trying to do, whether it's colleges, having events. You see Rocky T, we have a station mascot. Did you all know that? Rocky T, the Reading Ranger Raccoon. He goes out with our educator, Jennifer Medford. The station, was founded on education. And so we have a full-time educator. Jennifer is a former teacher, and all she does is go out to schools, boys and girls clubs, libraries, after-school programs, and a lot of times she has Rocky T if he's available, because he sleeps a lot, and does learning activities, and also gives away thousands of books every year. I'll tell you how powerful that is to me. When I first started, I was with Jennifer and we were giving out books, and there was a little girl, she must have been 5 or 6. She had never gotten a book before, and she was so thrilled, she was crying. And I went home thinking, that's my job. I get to give books to kids that have never gotten one before. My mom was so touched and believes in reading so much. She lives up in Minnesota. She's now a donor of a station. She sent a check for $60. She doesn't have $60. My sister, she lives with my sister, Social Security, But that's how much she was touched by that. So that's what we try and do, is be more local. And if you haven't, these are just some of the programs that we did over the holidays, all the different parades and stuff. If you have not downloaded the PBS app, do it. Go to your phone, your tablet, your Roku, your smart TV, download PBS, and it'll say pick your, PBS station, WLJT. It's totally free. All of our local programming is free. Some people say, I can't get Channel 11 on my little Walmart $10 antenna. If you get the internet, you can stream us on our app for free. So those are just some of the shows we did. We are recording me speaking to all of you, and we're going to post that on it. And so we were trying to put more local content on television and stream as well. And here's a little special thing that we did over the holidays to cement how local we are.
It's all about home.
Hello, this is Crystal Ozier with Everett Horn Public Library and member of your West Tennessee PBS Board of Directors. I would like to wish you and yours a happy holiday season and hope that 2024 is full of blessings.
about home.
So all of our board of directors did that as sort of a shout out to their communities. And this is something that's coming soon, very exciting. Several years ago, is it about 4 years ago that they tore down our studio in Martin? Yeah, STEM building, they, STEM, math, they tore down our studio in Martin, and so we haven't had a studio. So we thought, if we're gonna build one, let's put it in the center of our viewing area. So whether you're coming from Lexington, Savannah, Paris, Union City, Jackson's very central. So we have purchased property in Jackson. If you know where Havner's Frame Shop or Jackson Engraving are at Campbell and Highland, that's what we've purchased. Built in '65, it's got good bones to the building, needs a little TLC, and with the price is right for PBS. We can't afford the fancy Thompson Farm prices. And we really believe in taking something old and making it new again. So we're rehabbing that facility to put a studio in there and be doing some programming out of there. We're called the Jackson Media Center. We'll be having some meeting rooms and offices, so we're excited for that. And if you're around, come and see us. We're not always open, but I try and be there several days a week. But that's what makes us great, is the community support. We're commercial free, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We rely on donations and grants, and that's where we need you. We need the public to help, and many of you already are supporting the television station, but you can donate to the station at our website, westtnpbs.org. You can donate your car. We had like 3 or 4 people in the month of December donate their car or boat. We have a 1-800 number. There's information on our website where we'll come, pick it up, do all the paperwork, they sell it, and give you the tax write-off information. So if you've got an old car, truck, you need cleaned out, we can take it, and it'll do us some good money-wise. And some people are planned giving. They leave us in their will or stocks or bonds. And there's some companies that are doing underwriting for us. We've been working with Jackson State, Dyersburg Estate. Both of them have done underwriting for us. We're working with Robert's Jewelry. They're doing some underwriting. So that's, the underwriting during the local programmings, local productions. So that's how we stay in business, and we're going to be as local as our funding and resources allow. Questions? Not that I'm going to be able to answer like Miss Cleo, but any questions you have about Channel 11, PBS? If you guys ever do want to come out and look at the transmitter, I'm serious. Just email me, email the station, we'll meet you out there. It's quite fascinating. And the more it's like a little archival time vault, like those time capsules. No questions? I answered everything.
No questions, but I do have a comment. It has been a pleasure to work with this organization so far, and I cannot begin to tell you how integral PBS is to our summer reading program. They donate books for us to give out to our kids during the summer. They always bring us summer reading materials to hand out, bookmarks, all that good stuff. They always, Jennifer, I love Jennifer, and that's how I got involved with PBS, is through Jennifer, and they bring a character every year that kind of goes along with our summer reading program, and she does a tour with the PBS character. And so I could not do summer reading program without PBS, so I'm super thankful for that.
It's just cool that I work at a TV station that has a full-time educator. It's just cool. We left one of these for everyone if you didn't have one. This is what we call Spotlight 11. It's our donor monthly magazine we send out to all of our donors. It's got articles and a schedule and everything, but inside there's also ways that you can donate. You don't need to donate right now, and I know times are tough, especially for small businesses. Times are tough. It's not like you got huge profit margins. Some small businesses are hanging by a string. So the more we can support local please, I encourage everyone to shop local and be as local as possible. Yeah, there's stuff for, we have corporate memberships and individual memberships. Every little dollar, that people donate counts. And we're audited, we're not, living high off the hog. We're rethinking everything we do to make sure that it is helping us be as local as possible. Stay in touch. This is my contact information. That's my cell phone number. It looks weird, but that's when I used to live in LA, and I just have never changed the phone number since all my family got sick of changing it and couldn't remember it anymore. But that's my cell phone number right there to the table. That's my email. If you ever have a question, comment, idea, thought, hey, let me know. Basically, I work for you. We're a community licensed television station. And that means we work for the community. And it does, and you guys are our hometown people. We're a Lexington television station. So I really appreciate your time. If there's other groups that hey, come talk to my 4-H club, my Kiwanis club, I will be happy. If I don't talk to 3-4 groups a week, I feel like I'm not working, not earning my keep. So please pass my name along. I'm happy to help. And I thank you guys for having me. I'm a Rotarian in the downtown Jackson Club, so I appreciate the good work that Rotarians do. So appreciate you spending some time with me.
The program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.